There are 10 things that I want you to consider before choosing the best location to buy a property in. And the first thing is, are you an investor or an owner-occupier? Most owner-occupiers are faced with a common property dilemma, whether to compromise on the property or the location, because most of us can't quite afford what we want. I'd suggest that you start by looking in your preferred suburb first, see what your money can buy, and if you don't like what you see, start fanning out one suburb at a time. Now, if you're an investor, these next 9 steps are for you. 2. The question would-be property investors often ask is, where is the next hotspot? But I want to warn you that this is dangerous. Once a hotspot is common knowledge, the best opportunity for growth is already passed. And the thing about hotspots is that after they go up, they also go down. So the worst outcome will be to buy at the peak and then have to ride out an entire cycle before you see any growth. The third thing to consider, it's important to avoid risk. There are many reasons why property is risky. One is that you can easily lose money if you don't know what you're doing. Property is a lumpy asset, meaning you can't easily sell it. You certainly can't sell a bit of it if you need some cash. You're either in or out, and the costs of getting in and out are high. So before you start looking at locations, you need to take a moment to recognise the risks. Now, the fourth thing I want you to consider is that property is a long game. The costs associated with buying a property are around 5% of the purchase price, which means that you need to wait until prices have increased more than 5% before you break even. And when you sell, it's going to cost you around 3% of the sale price. So if you buy and sell within a short period of time, you aren't going to make much money, if in fact you make any money at all. Number 5, the only exception to the last rule, are flippers. If you're in the business of buying to renovate and flip, you'll need to understand short-term growth opportunities and get your timing spot on. Choosing a location that is expected to have an upswing in the next 12 to 24 months will have an enormous impact on your bottom line. 6, blue chip areas don't have cycles in the same way more volatile areas do. The least risky locations are within a 10-kilometre radius of the CBD of either Sydney or Melbourne. These suburbs possess the economic and lifestyle foundations that underpin sustained capital growth and/or weather market downturns. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get this sort of stability in other areas, it's just that typically property owners in blue chip suburbs are not under pressure to sell when the market slows down, and therefore prices are less likely to fall. Number 7, it's different in non-blue chip areas because what goes up will often go down. Otherwise known as the reverse ripple effect. When buyers only look to buy in an area because that's all they can afford, they'll abandon that suburb when the market slows and go back to looking where they really wanted to buy in the first place. The fundamental economic principle of supply and demand will dictate that if there are more properties on the market than there are buyers, prices will fall. Number 8. This leads me to one truism rarely spoken about, and that is that where you buy determines when you buy. In a blue chip market, it doesn't really matter when you buy, as long as you buy a quality property. In a more volatile market, you'll need to time your purchase and subsequent sale in order to avoid buying at the peak and selling in a trough. The 9th thing I want you to think about is that in A-grade areas, a quality property will always find a buyer. In fact, we often see strong competition for good property even when auction clearance rates are under 60%. And number 10, lastly, local knowledge is key. Does the property you want to buy pass the pub test? Once you've chosen a location, you want to make sure that you are buying a property that locals like. Every market has its quirks, and if you aren't familiar with the area in which you've decided to buy, you need to find out what appeals to a local buyer. Now, if you want to know more about how to avoid a risky property purchase, download my free ebook. You'll find the link in the notes. And if you like this video, please share it and click on like.